paid for it. but anyway, it'll record everything, and even something, if somebody had something as big as a little pocket knife, I don't have anything, but you got a little knife or anything with you, throw it out there in the middle, and it doesn't have to be very big. It'll actually find a silver dollar.
So in other words, my knee's should pick it up.
Your knee, if you got a metal joint in your knee, yeah, I've got a bullet in my leg thanks to Vietnam right here, and if I walk it with this side, every time I take a step I get a beat. Now if I walk on the other side, I don't. Bob? Yeah, throw that out in the middle, well, wherever. Just make sure you don't leave it. I'll get it if you don't. All right. But anyway, the setup on this, we're going to run it in the automatic mode. We go to auto, and when he gets ready to walk, he'll put this around his neck. Here you go, John. Put that around your neck. This is a camera strap off of my Sony camera, and when he gets lined up on that, it's on and everything. All he does is hit the log.
Hit the log button.
And it takes 1 step per second, more or less. That's what we do, because this log's every second. Okay, and he's gonna do that, and we put this around his neck. Usually that's the way it works if that cord's long enough. You got it backwards.
You'll see me holding it up like this just to keep the machine balanced, not because I'm watching the readout.
Well, you don't need to even watch the readout. Just keep your line straight. That's what we always.
My belly makes it bounce. So is anybody with a one of those.
I have no problems.
Yeah, I've watched you walk.
But anyway, I use 2 little fiberglass electric fence posts, and I've got a little deal made on one of them where I can stomp it in the ground. And what I do, if I'm going to do it by myself, I'll start off, put one of them at 3 feet, and then walk down and put another in at 6 foot. And I start at 0 and walk to the 3 foot, then I walk, when I get to 3 foot, I move it to 9 and walk back to the 6, and I move it to 12. And you can just, you got to walk right straight at that stake while you're doing it, because your lines have to be perfectly straight, because if they're not, what it does is that detector records the path about, I don't know, I'm going to say around 30 inches wide.
It puts it out on a graph, and so you got to walk that graph.
Right, and if you, let's say you start off wrong on one and you've got a target that's laying this way, it'll chop that target off if you don't get your pacing exactly right. And this is something that doesn't make any difference. You still know you got something, but for a geophysicist to analyze it, you know, whether he thinks it's a box or a whatever, he needs to have that. And now this thing actually works. If you go by Tim's table over there, I gave him 2 readouts that are printoffs off of my laptop, and one of them where we were working, we found 3 metal clues, one of them being a wrench about so long, buried at 5 foot, and this was all filmed by Fox News out of Fort Worth, so it's all on the up and the up. But we also dug up 2 pieces of boat arc wood, one of them about that long and one about that long, and they were laid at about 120-degree angle, and you can actually see the wood on the readout because of the difference in the density of the soil in the wood. That thing actually will read that. It's not very bold, in other words, you have to really see it, but there is a difference in coloration, and that's what this thing does. It almost turns it into a gem too. Of course, it don't have the 50-foot depth, but 20 or 25 foot is no problem with this with a large object like a milk can or a strong box. I wouldn't be a bit hesitant to go for a strong box at 25 foot.
Did you say this does show you the actual depth of the target?
No, that's
going to be different.
I don't think Tim's does it. I don't know. Does it?
What's that?
Estimate the depth.
No, Dan decided that it's half of your area.
Yeah.
Right about half your area.
Well, anyway, what he does, from where you first start getting the reading and to where it stops, half of that area is about how deep it is. And sometimes, if it's a large area, you'll get it over 340 yards. All right. And then half a day off-roading in a day, you know, Polaris 4-wheeler, and then get up there, and then one time you only had one laptop. I got up there in the laptop. We got sensitive on that vibration in the 4-wheeler.
There we went. Now we're reading.
You reading now?
You betcha.
What are you reading?
Oh, it went up to 240.
There you go. That's good enough.
84.23. That'll work.
You can do it. That has got a manual deal on it. So you can walk up and just as you get to the tree, you stop it. You can pick it and you stop, and you can go around the tree.
Seeing it better, huh?
But it is hard.
I just thought you could angle it toward the tree and walk around it.
Well, we always, that manual, it just stops the logging until you get up. Perfect. You stop the logging until you
Come tonight.
get on the other side and you pick it back into the ground. A lot of times, you get the target, you get the target.
Perfect.
But then, because of the way that you walk it or whatever.
12. 12.
Yeah, right here.
You always have to go back and get better. Working?
Yeah, 15.
All right.
Ready, Mark? Perfect.
Back on 18. Back on 21. No, I don't have it. On 24. And I ain't standing on that anthill.
Yeah.
Find that by itself. Another thing we found is that a lot of times we're working on pretty rough country and there's dips and things like that. If that detector is dipping like this, a lot of times you'll get a anomaly that's not really there, and so it's very okay. It'll be in grid 2. It'll be in grid 2. It'll be in grid 2 both ways. That's all right. This big one is in grid 2.
10.
But anyway, we got, there'll be 3 in a triangle right here in this if everything works right. And then we'll have one there. And those will be, there's another one behind you, Bob. Yeah, that'll be there. Let's pick that one. That's worth a few $1 million right there. We just found that the other day and I just worked it out the other night.